Marjorie Taylor Greene continues to make the headlines, both because she's apparently planning to run for Senate in Georgia.
I don't hate it. I just don't like it at all.
Right. And that's not what we're talking about here, but we may touch on it. Absurd, knowing that the Republican Party would fall in line behind her. I am hopeful, though, that Jon Ossoff would defeat her based on polling right now and backlash to Trump. But what we're talking about here is that she continues, while she tries to sort of walk around and say this isn't about Trump, it's just about the Republican Party. Or it's not Trump's fault, but bad people are getting in his ear. But it's correctly being reported as Marjorie Greene expressing discontent with the direction of the Trump administration. Mediaite says Marjorie Taylor Greene rails against direction of Trump administration on Steve Bannon's war room. You can't manipulate the base. Now, we already talked about the post where she articulated this. Now we'll look at the videos of her going on Bannon's, as you heard there, to talk about it. But the post was her saying, I represent the base, and when I'm frustrated and upset over the direction of things, you better be clear. The base is not happy. And it's her saying she's unhappy with the foreign policy of the Trump administration. And, you know, she hates Ukraine. We know that. And we were supposed to go and put Fauci in prison. She is yapping about. And then you have her just calling for more retribution. It's not enough is the point. We need more retribution. We need more attacks. We need to not let the justice system stop Trump's agenda. And if you're losing MTG, you're losing the base. Okay, well, we'll hear her make this case in the interview with Steve Bannon here. While we watch, please do click the subscribe button. Let's listen.
But talk to people about how this place works, because you've had the most interesting journey. You came in as a
so interesting. You had such an interesting journey. How you were a complete lunatic and got elected to Congress. You should write a book. Oh, you did, but no one bought it.
I got a Trump fire breather immediately, and then you were banned by the Republican Party, being even on committees. So you went out and became a media figure and taking the MAGA message to the people. You've been President Trump's closest supporter. Now we're at the end of the first 100 days, and you're seeing some basic building blocks that the Republican Party won't get in back of him on, or they have their own kind of globalists, particularly in national security, of what they want to accomplish. How can these guys up there think they exist without Trump and his base?
Well, here's the issue. Never forget, I got here on my own with the people. I didn't get elected with the president's endorsement. I fought through a primary and a runoff, and I won. And I won a general election. President Trump endorsed me then, but I already won the general election anyways. I would have won even without it. I'm here because I genuinely believe, and I'm fighting for what I believe in. And what I believe in is what most Americans believe in.
No. I don't know how to say it other than no. I don't know where you got that idea. Have you seen the polling of how popular you are in Georgia? Your little district. Okay. With love, I say something's going wrong in that. We'll work on it, though. I get that there are systemic factors and there are cultural things embedded and blah, 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 blah. But it's a very unique set of factors that allowed you to be elected in that district. But the state of Georgia at large, go run for Senate. We'll see.
General election anyways. I would have won even without it. I'm here because I genuinely believe, and I'm fighting for what I believe in. And what I believe in is what most Americans believe in. So when I am making a call to action, and it's always early, I'm an early indicator, but when I'm making a call to action, people better pay attention. And here's the issue, Steve, is they think they can manipulate the president, but you can't manipulate the base. You can't manipulate the base. And continuing to pursue the war in Ukraine, it's really a proxy war against Russia.
Yeah. And then on to our Ukraine things that we spend hours and hours and hours debunking. But I have so much more. But just for a second, can we all admit, first of all, Marjorie, do you agree that Trump is a fully capable adult? Oh my gosh. Sorry, that was funny. I don't agree. But do you think that? Okay, you think that. Well, let's pretend like I think that for a second for the argument. All right, so he's a fully capable adult with a functioning brain and such. or a stable genius, as he once described himself. If that's true, then why are y'all always excusing his incompetency or his actions in ways you don't like with the rhinos got into his ear? Like, she goes, you think you can manipulate Trump, and the reading between the lines when she gets to, but you can't manipulate the base, is you can manipulate Trump. So the deep state, the globalists, and the rhinos, they're able to convince Trump to be bad according to Marjorie. But honestly, Trump would probably be even worse if he were doing what Marjorie wanted him to do. So we agree he's bad, but for opposite reasons. But then the argument is it's not his fault because it's the people in his ear. But do you know what true leaders are able to do? Stand on their own principles and lead, not just listen to whatever people are. Stephen Miller saying, do this in his ear. He would actually be able to lead. And we just talked about a different segment, the Epstein list. And they're saying, oh, it must have been deep state operatives shredding it, and that's why Trump didn't release it. Or it must have been Pam Bondi's fault. There's all of this excusing for him. But how can you both say that, where you are acting like he can be treated and manipulated like a toddler, like a little baby who goes poo-poo in his pantsies, in his what's the thing that you wear in the diaper, and it's what's a brand of diapers? You get the point. Diapers. He's going poo-poo in his diapers. What? Gerbers. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not a dad yet. We'll see. I'm sure I'll know that I know of. So. You both treat him like that, a toddler with his diaper of any brand. We'll say Walmart brand generally, just your traditional Walmart diapers. And he's supposed to be a fully capable adult who can lead, but you don't really address the contradiction. All right, here's more from this.
There is no wedge between the base and President Trump. The wedge is between Congress and the establishment Republicans that are undermining the president's agenda. And also anyone that gets in the president's ear and is lying to him about what he should be doing. Here's the real issue. This country rose up in a historic way, something that we haven't seen in our lifetime, Steve, and delivered a mandate. And that mandate was to the Republican Party. The mandate was President Trump's agenda. The American people said, no, we're done with the old Republican Party ways. We are rejecting the Democrat Party's policies. We are embracing Make America Great Again, MAGA, America First, MAHA, no more foreign wars. This whole populist movement supporting America and American workers and American companies and American interests and solving American problems. That's what November 2024 was about. And Washington, as usual, is tone deaf and has not heard the message. What we saw is all these Republicans that rejected Trump, fought Trump in his first administration. Networks, even like Fox News, that did not support the president and didn't support him in 2021 and 2022, part of 2023, and didn't support him until they realized they had to support him.
Mm-hmm. Isn't that crazy? Isn't it crazy that there was a little period of time where some people who would eventually sell their soul right back to Trump were hesitant that he would be the leader of the party after he waged one of the most historic attacks on American democracy in history? Isn't it weird that people who were in the media, some of them, thought that would destroy a political career to try to get rid of the functioning democratic process that we have? But America said, wait, we're like wackier than you thought. All right. And they shocked the world by putting him back into power. We read that post where she supposedly, you can put this back up, Jaden, laid out her thoughts. None of this. She would say foreign wars is the thing that will make America better or whatever, but so little of this is at all directed at the populist vision she pretends like she exhibits, right? There's a lot of retribution stuff in here. I went through more. I'm not going to read it all here, but I went through extensively in the past segment. You can find it. It's Marjorie Taylor Greene, Trump shocked as she knifes him or something like that. And it's not laying out, here are the policies hey, I don't think you should be kneecapping your National Labor Relations Board because that's not good for workers. Or, hey, everyday consumers are being hurt by the fact that you're dismantling the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Or, hey, maybe the idea that Medicaid's going to be cut if Republicans get their way is not pro-worker. No, it's just these, she can't really comprehensively through the lens of policy articulate how it is that the mysterious people are getting Trump's ear and making him not as good for workers as he would otherwise be if he were fully MAGA. Because the issue is the more MAGA you go, the worse for everyday workers you get, despite so many of them supporting MAGA. A little more.
Tied in for, there's no end date to this. The American people are not responsible for what happened in Ukraine. The American people did not bomb Ukraine. The American people did not murder Ukrainians. The American people should not be on the hook for their security, prosperity, and reconstruction. Let's talk about reconstruction. How about California? How about where the California fires have destroyed so many homes?
How about Georgia and North Carolina on the hurricane?
100%. How about reconstructing Americans' homes?
Trump's the one cutting off reconstruction funds to those things. And guess what? He would be doing that if we weren't supporting Ukraine either. And the reconstruction deal she's talking about is an economic boost for the United States because it's us getting preferential treatment to, for U.S. companies to economically benefit from Ukrainian natural resources. So it's not even the sort of charity that she's making out to be as it pertains to the deal that Trump struck. So again, she's acting like there's not a wedge between the base and Trump, but then she's directly criticizing his plan here.
What about Lahaina? We can go down the list. We can talk about every hurricane. We can talk about every natural disaster in America. How about let's talk about reconstructing American lives from the drug pandemic that has been forced on this nation by the Mexican cartels. How about that one? And when I look on social media and I see threats to, we're going to bomb Iran, but then we're going to ask permission from the Mexican president if we can go in and take out the cartels that are murdering Americans every single day. I'm sorry, this is not what resonates with the American.
Yeah, so that's a direct rebuke to Trump, who hasn't been making those threats against Iran or Iran, as a lot of the MAGAs call it. But, it's kind of like this, this reminds me of when they go, we can't do anything with gun regulations because we have to worry about mental health. And then Democrats go, here's a mental health legislation to invest more in mental health treatment and access, etc. And they go, no, we don't want to invest in that. Then what was all this mental health pontificating about? Oh, it was an excuse. And then same thing here. Well, I want to invest in programs for prevention and treatment of drug addiction. Same. All right, let's put up legislation. No, we don't have money for that. What? But you said, same thing. These Republicans would cut off all Ukraine aid and then would go on to vote no on investing more in Americans' lives. That's what we see over and over again. Now, I referenced that she's wanting to run for Senate. No. And during my appearance this morning on the Damage Report hosted by John Irola, we discussed this a little bit. Here's a piece.
What else? And now if she got that nomination, which I think even though she's trailing compared to Jon Ossoff, the MAGA base maybe could push her over the edge if there's like a three-way race or something. I know for certain Trump would get behind her. The Georgia Republican Party would get behind her. And just the Republican Party now, it's nothing. It's just whatever the craziest MAGA candidate wants it to be. Now, to your point, I said a while ago, I saw Jon Ossoff, posting a video being like, Marjorie Taylor Greene is saying that she's going to get in the race. And if she gets in the race, Marjorie Greene, get in the race. Marjorie Greene, get in the race. Marjorie, like really trying to goad her into it. Because for him, even though the crazy off chance where she were to win would be terrible, for him electorally, that's kind of his dream because she would be a political toxic nightmare. But please don't let anything go astray there.
Yeah. And look, we always have to bear in mind the worst possible thing that can happen, sometimes does. So this simultaneously raises the chances that the Democrats win that seat, which is super important. We need that seat. But it also means that she could potentially win if something crazy happened. I don't think it's super likely. And some of those crazy MAGA candidates have lost. I mean, Herschel Walker's not a senator. Carrie Lake is not a senator. Mastriano didn't win. Dr. Oz didn't win. So sometimes reason does prevail, as it doesn't always sunny in Philadelphia. But I hope that Ossoff still has a...
So there's a risk here now that she's in the race, but it also could help Ossoff. She's not officially in the race, but it seems she's definitely going that direction, sending out a fundraising email. Should I run for Senate? Would that be crazy? I don't want to do that. Are you? Oh my gosh. Are you pulling me into it? Fine, I'll do it. Is kind of the game she's playing right now. And hopefully it leads to a resounding defeat and her leaving Congress. Share your thoughts in the comments.